Good morning. Welcome to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with our producer, Alden Iwani. Our very special guest today, Las Cruces girls volleyball coach Keith Leupold. His Bulldogs last week defeating La Cueva and Cibola, and defeating La Cueva in 4 sets and defeating Cibola in 3 sets. A 14-1 record, I believe, so far this season. And accolades galore. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
You know, Coach, I talked to Coach Norton last week. I had her match against Centennial, and she was talking about going down to Las Cruces. You'd already beaten her in 3 sets. The match against Centennial, I asked her this, is the Cibola looking ahead? She assured me that they weren't, but you defeated the Cougars in 3 sets after beating La Cueva. Big week for Las Cruces. Big week. I don't know if the new rankings are in yet. You beat the number 1 ranked Bears, who had won 54 straight, went to the Tournament of Champions in Phoenix and took some lumps, as you would expect that they would. But what did that last weekend mean? Or you've got other fish to fry. It's still not over. What did that mean for Las Cruces last week?
I just think it's a little bit of validation for our kids. Last year, of course, we lost 5 times last year. Last season, we lost 3 times to La Cueva. We lost once to Centennial, our district rival, and then we lost a match like we did this year to El Paso Franklin. But I think we were confident going in that we could compete. We knew that this 2-week stretch was going to be a great test for us. We played Rio Rancho, and then we played Cibola, then we played La Cueva, then we played Cibola again, then we finished with Rio Rancho. And so, to end up 5-0 over that stretch, I think says a lot for who we are.
Think about what you just mentioned. Of course, Toby Manzanares, one of the finest volleyball coaches, one of the finest people in the state, no doubt about it. You played his team. You played Cibola twice in that span. And La Cueva, Coach Archibek, he said this in the paper. He's quoted as saying in the paper, and I have all the respect in the world for Coach Archibek, that he thought his Bears, you weren't afraid of them, he said. Las Cruces was not afraid of La Cueva. La Cueva, he said, he thought, was afraid of Las Cruces. And for a program that has the pedigree that his program does, I think I had to read that twice to make sure I read what I read. But you beat them in 4 sets. Talk a little bit about that. Again, that it's not the end of the season, right? You still have games to play. It's a hurdle. Sir. You're climbing hurdles and you have to feel good. But La Cueva's got some attackers. They've got great offense. They're a great program, as yours is. We're going to go over some accolades that you have here, and it's unbelievable. But talk a little bit about that match against La Cueva.
Well, we knew they were coming back from the Tournament of Champions. We knew that they had lost. We're a small state, and when we put our best up against teams from Arizona, teams from California, other places, bigger schools, lots of those schools that they played were prep schools, which means they can attract the high end, the upper end players. But I have a lot of respect for what Steve has done and what La Cueva has done. They have some excellent hitters, not only the 2 seniors, but also the freshman kid. I can't remember her name right now. I want to say it begins with a J. Anyway, she was impressive. I love their setter, Karina Worley. I think she's really special. And so we just wanted to make sure we could go in and compete with them. But I think we had confidence. I have several seniors who carry the load, but I also have a sophomore, Addison Massey, who is very confident and very good and just has been a great leader even as a sophomore to us. So, we won game 1. We played extremely well in game 2. And then we gave up. At price, we probably should have gone to 5 because we were down 5 points or 6 points. I think we were down 20-14. And so we came back and we battled back against them. So I thought that showed us something about who we are.
Have to face up, to make them make errors.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, no, I hear you loud and clear. It's tough to make a team like that when you're down like that, 20-14. Usually La
Did I
Cueva.
lose you?
No, we're here. You can we hear you.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So it's tough when you're down 20-14 against a team like La Cueva to come back and make them make errors. Uh, they've got, you mentioned, great hitters. Usually that's it, right? When you play a team against La Cueva,
Right.
that could be it. So what was the key to you're down six, and there's no quit there, obviously. But what was the key in your team making that comeback from, it's not insurmountable, but against a team like La Cueva, sometimes it is. So what was the key in making them make errors, your team making plays, and having confidence to feel like you could come back?
Oh, I think a lot of that, again, stems from my sophomore kid. Addison, we started fighting back. Mitzel Morales, my senior outside hitter, took some nice swings, but she got back to the service line, and then we just served out with. I think Addison Massey took the last 5 swings for us. Got 5 kills in a row, and so that's the ability to get her the ball in times like that is. I think that's really important.
That says a lot. That really does, because again, La Cueva, when they're a team that when they feel like you're done, you're done, and they just come back from the Tournament of Champions, and even though they took their lumps, you would feel like, hey, that would make them better too. Even by losing, sometimes it makes you better. But I think that tells me a lot about your team. Your 39th year at Las Cruces High School, West Las Vegas Athletic Director Richard Tripp calls you the grandfather of volleyball coaching throughout the state. And Richard's opinion means a lot. He's been around sports a long time. You've won 5 state championship, 3 runner-up trophies, 5 third-place trophies. Leupold on track to win your 600th match this season, needing 17 wins. You're about 3 short. Overall record of 583 and 252. You qualified for the state tournament 33 years in a row, and you've reached the semifinals 18 times. Won district 17 times. 6 of your players have been New Mexico Gatorade Player of the Year, and many Bulldogs have earned volleyball scholarships while under your tutelage. You've also served as the president of New Mexico High School Coaches Association, and in 2018 were one of 8 coaches nominated as National Coach of the Year by the National High School Athletics Coaches Association. And you've got a family that you mentioned here too. But that's amazing. 33 years in a row to qualify for state. No unbelievable overall record. What's been the secret there, as Coach Tripp called you, the grandfather of volleyball coaching here? That's quite an impressive record, Coach.
Well, I talked to my kids the other day about the idea that we've been to state this many times. We are confident on a yearly basis that we're going to go. And I talked to my kids yesterday, and I said, there are some teams that have been around for a long period of time who have gone perhaps 4 times during that period of time. And so I feel we're really blessed because we've managed to do that. One of the things that I think is really important, and I don't know that I mentioned it when we have talked, but my staff has been around for a long time. My JV coach, Chrissy Barreras, has been with me now for, I think this is her 34th year, or perhaps 35th. My varsity assistant, Flora Gonzalez, this is her 29th year as my varsity assistant. And so we have a consistency there that I think really helps us as we try to develop kids through the program.
That's amazing, because they haven't taken they could, with the record that you have, they might have said, let me go out on my own and seek opportunities for myself. I don't know that I've heard of a staff staying together that long. And as you mentioned, continuity and trust and having the kids know you're going to have the same coaches, I think that goes a long way to building a solid program like the one you have at Las Cruces. I don't know that I've heard that, because a lot of coaches, sometimes when they see success, they want to go off on their own and get their own jobs. And having a coach that's been there 29 years and 33 years, that speaks to the stability and strength of your overall program, no question.
Well, my varsity assistant, Flood, has been offered by numerous places, but because she doesn't work in the schools, because she works outside in the community, it's more difficult for her to become a head coach. So she has stayed with me. She played for me, graduated in 1994, sat out 1 year, and has been with me ever since. And my kids love her. Many times I will call a kid over during practice and talk to this kid and say, hey, you're contacting the ball in the middle of your body instead of in front of your right shoulder. And she'll smile at me. And I said, Coach G just told you the same thing, right? And she said, yes, because she played for me, because we've been coaching together for so long, I trust her implicitly and I allow her to question me. And, I think good things come from that.
One blip on the schedule, you lost against El Paso, Franklin, and sometimes I think teams, it helps. Now, I don't want to lose. We want to win every game. We do. But sometimes we can tell kids or girls, hey, we need to work on this and that. Tell us a little bit about that match. It's the only blip on the schedule. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, it's very difficult to go over and play against the Texas schools. When we lost to Franklin, at the end of that tournament, we were 2-1, and they were 21-6. They'd already been to Austin. They'd already been to San Antonio. They played so many matches, and they played so much good competition. They were in mid-season form. I was without two of my starters. We would welcome the opportunity to try to play them again, because for the last 2 years we have started off the season with a loss to Franklin. But they're a good program. They do good things. And as I said, I think their first match was something like August 7th. And that was our first match against them on, that weekend, August 26th or 25th or whatever it was. But they're always good, and we're excited to get that kind of competition early.
Coach, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about this year's version of the 2023 Las Cruces Bulldogs girls volleyball team after these messages on the sports desk.
Thanks so much.
Now King Mead could play there to receive it by Winham.
McConnell, Julian Lovato. And here's Carson McConnell taking the first shot of the game. It sails over the keeper. Second chance opportunity is in. And it's the freshman Nico Reyes.
Hatch looking, fires, and it's picked off. It's an interception. Volcano Vista gets the first turnover of the game as it's a pick for Thomas Pettis, the junior. Well, with two teams that run the ball well, you could make the argument that the difference tonight was Hatch. Back to Mbueha. On the ground, looking for that third tutty. Now he cuts back towards the middle of the field, still on his feet, and Boyha's in! That's another angry run, and it's a Cleveland Storm dagger! Third touchdown of the night for Harris Mbueha. Flakes looking for his favorite target, and it's intercepted, and nothing but green in front. It's a pick six for Carter Spiegel. Touchdown, Chargers. He was trying to go to Cox Liggins, and
Siebla blitz. It's to Villalobos, and Villalobos is breaking through. He's back through at the 20, the 10. Villalobos with another giant run. This one. Cougars trying to get this offense cooking. Noah Carroll on the design quarterback keeper. Noah Carroll exploding through. He's got Renfro trying to chase him down from below, but Noah Carroll will win the race.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Our very special guest today, Las Cruces girls volleyball coach Keith Leupold. His Bulldogs are 14-1. Haven't seen the latest rankings, Coach. I would think you're number one. You beat the number one ranked La Cueva Bear. Big week for the Bulldogs last week. Beat La Cueva in 4 sets, and then you turn around and beat the Cibola Cougars, who are a well-thought-of program under Coach Christina Norton out there. You beat them in 3 sets, and you've got Roswell or Mayfield next, Gadsden, Oregon Mountain, Alamogordo, Centennial. You're going through your district, and Centennial. We saw them up here last week. They've got some good hitters too. They have one of their better players was out with an ankle injury, but yeah, it's been a 13-1 start so far. You're just starting district. Gosh, the season seems like it's just going by. Yeah, you are ranked number 1 in New Mexico, the number 1 ranked team. So, I wanted to go over a little bit of your offensive statistics, and then you can talk about your defense. Your team averages 11 kills per set, 526 kills on season, 11.2%, 578 digs, 14.5%, 578 assists, 14.5%. Yeah, so you've got a lot of balance here. Mizaleth, there's some great pictures that you sent as a young Coach Leupold right there.
Yeah, that wasn't yesterday.
There's some great pictures, man. You've been there. Well, there's another great pictures. I was getting a kick out of these pictures. Mizaleth Morales, 80 kills. Addison Massey, 270 kills. So we can go on and on. You got Sydney Pipkin, 84 digs, 315 assists. Just some great pictures there. Tell us a little bit about the Bulldogs and their offense.
Well, I would like to start off by talking about Sydney Pipkin. Sydney Pipkin is a sophomore. She lost her entire freshman year to back issues. And in fact, she had back surgery. She had rods put in her back on January 2nd of this year. The last time that Sydney Pipkin was a setter was for a club team that she played on when she was 10. So for her to come in and play as well as she has, it has just been phenomenal. And I'm so happy for her because no kid should miss an entire year of, she plays basketball as well. No kid should miss an entire year at the age of 15 to back issues. But so I'm very pleased with her. I think as a sophomore who really is just getting her feet wet, I think she's played very well. She has a great group of hitters in front of her. The outside hitters are Mitzel Morales and Addison Massey. And then opposite her on the right side is Amari Stout. All 3 of those girls, I think, have elite arms. This is where La Cueva has been over the last few years. They can hurt you in so many places. And then our middles right now for us are Mercedes Willis and Haley Rautenstrauk. And I think we can attack at all times from all spots. And that makes us a little bit more difficult to defend against. the tendency is to want to load up against Addison Massey on, with their right side blockers. And I see coaches saying, hey, make sure we double her. So Mercedes Willis in the middle has had a field day because coaches are leaving her alone sometimes. And that's been a mistake as well, because, she's hitting against sometimes no block or a late block, and then when she starts getting the ball, then we start getting we get one-on-one matchups for our hitters on the outside, for Addison Massey on the left and Amari Stout on the right. And that's the name of the game when it comes to attacking in volleyball. Can you get your hitters against one blocker? That's something that we have done pretty well. And a lot of that, praise goes to Sydney Pipkin for what she's doing as a setter.
You mentioned having an elite arm. We always hear that, the right-hand swing. Lefties, I think, you don't see a lot of them, but they're very tough to pick up. Lefties are the ones that I've seen, and it's been few and far between in the Lone Star Conference or even up here in Albuquerque. Cibola, I believe, no, Volcano Vista has a left-handed hitter. She's pretty good. She's only a junior. But talk about when you mean elite arms. I think, some people that may not be familiar with volleyball terminology, you talk about elite arms, they might be thinking you're talking about a baseball pitcher. Talk about what you mean about an elite arm.
Well, I think we are talking about baseball. We're talking, there are certain skill sets where some people just have God-given talents. You get kids who come in and jump really well. Well, in many cases, they didn't earn that. That's just something they're born with. They can improve that. But we work on arm swings, but I think some people have a better starting off point. They start off coming in and having fast twitch arms, and and speed kills. This year we've had several times where people have lined up our hitters. You may line up a hitter, but a ball that's coming in with, that's really hot, a ball that's coming in fast, it's just a lot more difficult to dig than a ball from an average arm. It's the difference between, at the high school level, pitchers who are throwing in the low 80s, and then you get the kid from Carlsbad a few years ago who was in the 90s.
Yes.
When you the jump from 80 to 90 in baseball is like somebody who has an elite arm. Addison Massey has an elite arm. Hits the ball very hard.
You know what? That's putting things up in perspective. You mentioned there is baseball comparisons, and jumping and those things are important too. I got to tell you something that happened at Western New Mexico a couple of weeks ago that I've never seen. Arkansas Fort Smith, a kill went off our girl's face and went over the net, returned it. It hit her so hard. Thank God she didn't have a concussion. I never saw that, though. Went off her face and went over the net, and it stunned everybody. I was like, my gosh. But you mentioned those kind of speed kills and power, and leaps, those kind of things. That's why your comeback against La Cueva, trailing 20-14, is even more, I think, tells me a lot about your team, because they have that. They have elite arms. They have jumpers. They have setters. But you know what? So do you. Talk a little bit about your defense. You mentioned the offense. 578 digs, 14.5%. When you're saying you're looking for one-on-one matchups, things like that, I'm understanding a little bit more now. Talk about your defense is top-notch too. You mentioned you lost your first match of the year, and you've reeled off 14 straight since then. District starts here pretty soon. But talk about your defense. I think they deserve some love too.
Well, I took a kid who played a setter for me as a sophomore, and I had a long line of kids who were looking to play that libero spot, the libero. And I took this kid, Ainsley Doolittle, out of setting, and I told her, I'm going to make you my libero. I had watched her enough that I just thought she would be really, really good. And she has been. I'll pat myself on the back and say, good choice, coach. She's not, the libero has several responsibilities. And one of the responsibilities is to be a great teammate and a great leader. And that's also what Ainsley Doolittle is. But when we played against Cibola this past week, and when we played against La Cueva, I'm only playing 8 girls. All right. And that's a low number. I'm not making you watch a lot of volleyball, you see a lot of subs, kids in the front row who aren't good defenders, so you take them out in the back row. Defenders who aren't big enough to attack, and so you take them out in the front row. Well, right now, Amari Stout, Addison Massey, Sydney Pipkin, Mitzel Morales, those 4 kids play all the way around. They're in serve receive, they're playing defense, and I think that's a big part of what we do. Mitzel Morales has started for me every match of her high school career, except for the Jane Leupold Sweet 16 last year. They went to Subway before the match, and somebody put mayonnaise on her sandwich, and she's allergic to eggs, and so she was throwing up instead of playing. But other than that, she's played all around, and she has over the past 4 years dedicated herself to becoming a great defender at the middle back position. And so she and Addison Massey both play at that left back position. And, I think it gives us some continuity that perhaps not a lot of other teams have.
Which, is very, very important. There's no doubt about that. And the coaching, I think that you can't say enough about the coaches that you have that have been. Flora Gonzalez, you mentioned. I don't think you can say enough about that. Your record speaks for itself. You've been around coaching in Las Cruces. You came from Deming, you told me, and you've been at Las Cruces for 38 years, correct?
This is my 39th, yes.
39th year at Las Cruces. I ask a lot of coaches this in football, in basketball, in any sport. What are the most changes you've seen? There's been a lot of more club involvement now on the volleyball, girls volleyball level. Other than that, what changes have you seen during those years? What major changes have you seen as far as the game goes?
Well, when I first started coaching volleyball, it was an officials game. You could go to the state tournament, which I did. I watched an early match between Alamogordo and West Mesa when West Mesa was getting to be quite dominant in the late 80s. And the whistles for lifts, whistles for doubles, it dominated the match. But now we're getting to the point where we are letting players play. We're letting the game be decided on the court. They've changed some rules, for example, that you can't call a double on a first contact. And it's made it more player friendly, which in turn has made it more audience friendly. I think it's a great sport to watch right now. And it's fast, there's lots of action, and it's really improved. Now, I have video of us playing Laverne Atler's team in probably 1986. And when I show my kids that, they're like, is this your JV team, your freshman team? What is this? Because the style has changed so much.
Yeah, Coach, amazing. That's a lot of amazing things that you've seen throughout the years. Coach, we're going to wrap it up, but I'll tell you what, we sure appreciate you being our guest on the sports desk, and we wish you good luck the rest of the season, and we'll see you down here at the state tournament, I'm sure.
Sounds great, Ed. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, you know what, Coach? Believe me, it was our honor. For producer Aldo Unawani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you in 2 weeks on the sports desk. Yeah, Coach, you tell Coach.